Let me guess. You've got an idea for a story, and it's really good. Like, really good. Like, Game of Thrones good. But, like, where do you go from there? How do you start a story? What is writing anyway? Don't worry, babes. I gotcha. In this video, we're going to go through what I like to call the 3.5-fold method in order to figure out how best to approach your story before you even begin writing. And if you have already begun writing, this is what's going to take your writing from its infancy stages to the finished novel. This will just make it so much better. So I've been writing stories pretty much my whole life. One of the only good childhood memories I have is of writing a Xena Warrior Princess zine with my brother when I was about 6 or 7, and like I wrote the story and he did the art for it. It was so cute. Wish more than anything that I had that zine. Suffice to say, I've been writing for a really long time, and the method that I'm going to teach you today is something that I've been developing for the last couple months. So it's really big for me. It's really big, and I'm really excited to share it with you. But only if many, many people watch this video will it be worth it. So bump those stats up, babes. Share it with your friends. Like this video, comment for the engagement, etc., etc. Because I'm giving this to you free of charge. Okay? Goodness of my heart, honestly. So the 3.5-fold method is about approaching a story from 3.5 angles. And you'll get what I mean in a minute. There are a specific order of angles that need to be followed. So the first is theme, the second is character, the third is plot, and the 3.5 is thematic statement, which goes with theme, but you kind of develop it last. It'll make sense. It'll make sense, trust me. So we'll go through them all in order. So themes. What are themes? What is a theme? A theme is a broad, overarching concept or idea that permeates the holes in your story and guide it through to its conclusion. I'm thinking of this metaphor as if like your story is a block of Swiss cheese put in water, you know, like the holes in Swiss cheese, or like a boat, and the theme is like the water crushing in. You know, that's not what you want. You don't want water on your Swiss cheese, and you don't want water in your boat. Let's just go with it. So when you think about themes, you want to think about what are the elements that you want to put into your story? What are the ideas and the concepts that you want the reader to understand or to think about or to feel as they're reading this story? Is it a story about love, betrayal, family, friendship, good versus evil, how the prison industrial system causes recidivism, how capitalism not only exacerbates but also causes mental illness? You decide, babes. It's your story. And you need to decide before you start this story. Themes are going to be prevalent in your story whether you purposely put them in there or not. And a lot of them will come across without you purposely putting them in there. But if you don't consciously think of them before you write the story and as you're writing the story, they will be decided for you. You're telling this story, and themes are a huge part of what make it up. So with this method, you need to decide the themes before you start the story. Next one, character. What is a character? It's just a little guy with some problems, right? I'll read exactly what I wrote down. A character is a person in your story with definable traits and characteristics, personality, goals, desires, etc., and someone who makes decisions. But your characters are not only there to be the actors who make decisions and propel the plot along, they also embody the themes. So once you have your themes worked out, then you can work on character. If your main theme is the prison industrial system is bad, you have to have your main character be affected by that in some way. That doesn't mean you have to make their whole personality about prison, but it is a good place to start. Your characters have to embody the themes because the themes are the message that you want to send to your readers, and characters are the best way to convey those messages. Another way to think about this is that all stories are about connection, and the easiest way for your audience to connect with your story is through your characters. I literally can't even do that. What is wrong with me? weak thumbs or strong pinky. I don't know. Am I like Michelle Yeoh in Everything Everywhere All at Once, where she has like really strong pinky? No, I think if I did a push-up with my pinky, I'd break it. But third is plot. Sorry, I'm still distracted by the fact that I can't do that. Oh my god, what's wrong with me? If the characters embody the themes, then plot is what creates obstacles in order for the characters to grow, adapt, change, and develop. And therefore the themes to grow and change and develop. The plot not only throws obstacles, challenges, and hurdles at your character, it also provides a framework for your characters to traverse. Of course, you have to make the plot relevant. Don't write about Atlantis if your character is Tony Stark. Unless, of course, you're writing about an AU where Tony Stark is in Atlantis and he, like, builds crab homes out of shells. And that's his special talent, is building underwater architecture. Then you can write about that. That's fine. Post it on AO3, I'll read it. 3.5 is thematic statement. So once you have your themes, your characters, your plot, you can start thinking about what is the central argument that you want to make with your book. What is the thing that you want to scream from the rooftops, as Abby Emmons says? What is the thing that you're going around door to door, shaking people by their shoulders and saying, this is the story I want to tell you? What is that thing? Put it down in the comments. I would really love to know. It often takes me about 3 to 5 times trying to write this thematic statement before I actually get one that I really like. And even then, it can take longer than that. It can change over time. But as long as you have an idea of what you want your thematic statement to be, that's a good place to start. You don't necessarily have to have this before you start writing, but if you do, it will make everything that you're writing so much like more concrete and structured. Structured is the word I'm looking for. Structured. So how do we go from ideas and world building to themes, character, plot, thematic statement to actually writing a story? Well, once you have these elements sorted out, writing a story is going to be a lot easier because you have already laid the groundwork. So it's already half done. It's already 90%. No, I'm kidding. You actually have to write the book. Often people write a couple chapters and then get stuck on where to go. They just don't know where to go, and that's totally fine. I have been in this position many, many times where I've started a nano project specifically, and then I've just gotten like 3 days in and been like, you know? But the thing I spent a lot of time doing over the past few years is understanding structure and understanding how to implement structure in the story. I actually have an ebook about structure, which is pay what you want and free if you want to, on my store. So if you want to check that out, that would be great. That would be awesome. It only has 2 downloads so far, so it's feeling a little bit lonely. But I'll also talk a little bit about structure now. Structure is what holds the story together as a framework around which the story is built, like a scaffold. We have been writing structures in stories for millennia. We haven't always known them by the names that they're known today, you know, like the 3-act structure, the save the cat beat sheet, the hero's journey, the heroine's journey, all that kind of stuff. So the most simple structure is the beginning, middle, and end structure, which is the 3-act structure. And that's in every story, every single story. You have to literally start and end somewhere. I don't know how to convey it any simpler. Like, everything starts and ends. This video could go on for years, but I'm going to start it and end it somewhere because I'm going to eventually run out of things to talk about. So in my ebook, I talk about several different, I think there's like 5 different structures in there, including the hero's journey, the 8-sequence structure, and the 5-act structure. I really like the 8-sequence structure. It holds together really well, and it has propelled my stories to a really cool, like, amazing kind of level. So I'm like really pleased with it. I use it for everything. But what's missing from all of these structures that I found over the years is something that I like to call consequence or consequences. And I don't have time to talk about that today, but I would actually like to do a video on consequences in plot structure. But seeing as my plans never come to fruition, it likely will not happen anytime soon. So when you have your structure, you can put in place the plot that you need to make your characters grow, your characters who embody the themes. It's really that simple. Take the themes, put them into characters, make plot happen around a structure. That's it. So how can this be applied? Let's take the example of Katniss and Effie from the Hunger Games. One of the most prevalent themes in the Hunger Games is the dichotomy between rich and poor, privileged and marginalized. Katniss has to hunt for her dinner, otherwise her family would literally starve to death, and that's the only way she knows how to get food, because she doesn't have any money. When she gets to the capital, she is disgusted by the extravagance and the excess and the wealth that people have over there. And through this characterization, people who don't come from wealth or who are marginalized themselves can relate to her disgust at the opulence and wastefulness that the people from the capital exhibit. Because she hunts for her dinner, she was also able to use these skills to showcase her talents in the Hunger Games. It's also literally called the Hunger Games. Like, she's hungry for blood. As the plot develops, Katniss goes from using a bow and arrow and sometimes a knife to much more complex and interesting weapons, some that are not even physical or literal, to bring down the capital. But also shit like bombs, because she's a bad bee. She moves from a solo hunter killing animals to a leader of an army surrounded by friends, taking down a machine that wants to wipe out Katniss and other marginalized people that pose a threat to its constructed ironclad order. But in contrast to this is Effie, what's her last name? Effie Stoneham. Sorry, just all I can think of. Effie Stoneham. Oh, legend that she is. Effie in the Hunger Games is opulence incarnate. She arrives in District 12 wearing this ridiculous outfit that contrasts all of the outfits worn in District 12, which are mostly worker gear that is able to be used for like manual labor. As we go throughout the story, Effie loses her status and her resources, meaning most of her clothes and makeup. She ends up losing the things that she thinks define her, and in turn finds a new way to define herself outside of the opulence of the capital. It's good to know that she doesn't give up her appearance completely, because at the core of it, she does value her appearance, and that's totally fine. You're allowed to value your appearance. In the third installment, that's the only thing that she has that is actually hers. So the thematic statement that I've come up with to kind of sum up that theme in particular is like, people who have everything to lose. That's it for the show and tell. Now on to the juicy stuff. Do you like werewolves? Do you like urban fantasy? Do you like stories about grief and revenge? Do you like wayward orphans whose new life begins in bloodshed? Of course you do. Who doesn't? And because you like these things, you'll love my urban fantasy novel called Daughter of the Valley. It's set in 2017, before the pandemic. And it's about a despondent werewolf, Crystal, who comes back to her hometown to bury her father. And along the way, adopts a little sister, gets a new father, and upends her entire way of life that has kept her safe for the last 10 years by entering into a blood feud with a rampaging rampaging pack who want to kill her. Sound juicy? You can get it on my store or on most ebook retailers for about $3 Australian. I'll link my store in the comments, and I'd really appreciate it if you checked it out and bought some things, because there's some really good stuff on there. There's like a couple Notion templates, there's like free ebooks, there's paid ebooks, there's that 1.5 hour course with me. You can do it. You can develop your novel with me, who is really good at developing stories. Bye.